Hi, I'm Adam Pennell, Shropshire lad, here with Yorkshire Fires. Let's get cooking.
Okay, right, so we're going to get this Kamado set up ready for some indirect cooking with the slow roller system. First of all, we've got to make sure that we've got some charcoal in the basket, so don't overfill your basket. You want to kind of get enough charcoal, just the top of the basket is fine. You do want to have a bit of a gap between the top of the charcoal and where the slow roller is going to fit over the top here. Simply going to fill that up, grab the old loose lighter, and this is really good, dry, carbonated British charcoal, and as you'll see, it takes no time at all. In under a minute, you're good to go. Okay, so now we've got that lit, I'm going to open the bottom vents. I'm not going to put the top in yet because we're going to add a little bit of wood once this gets up to temperature. But for now, you can put the lid down. Open the top vents as well. Just keep an eye on that, and I'll then close this. I usually try and keep the top vent open, and do most of my control with the bottom vent here. So we're going to be cooking at around about 190C today for this turkey. So when we hit around about 150 will be a good time to drop the vents down and then let it settle and see where we're at. And if it gets too hot, then we can always close up at the top as well, which will give you further reduction of heat. Can't wait to do this.
Okay, right, so we're up to 150 now. So I've dropped the vents down. We can always open them up again if it drops too cool, but I don't want it to get too hot. It's much easier to bring the temperature up than it is to bring it down again. So I'm just going to open this up now. See, coals are just ticking away nicely in there. So we're just going to add in a little bit of sweet chestnut. So 2 sort of fist-sized lumps, one either side of the coals. And then we're just going to drop this slow roller system on the top, and that's going to mean that we're going to cook indirect. So the smoke will come up, hit this plate, roll around this dome, and it's going to smoke our turkey, which will be sitting on the grills, which we're going to just drop in here, like so. This will actually be the lower grill, and we're going to make our gravy with some chicken wings on there, and then the turkey will sit on the second grill above it. You probably start to see the smoke come in as those bits of sweet chestnut take now. Going to drop the lid back down, keep an eye on the temperature again. Obviously putting the slow roller in is going to reduce the temperature, so I'm probably going to give it a little bit more of a vent open there, just so that we can bring that temperature back up, and then once we hit the sort of 90C mark, that's when we're going to get this turkey on. Okay, so we're going to get our turkey prepped now. I don't like to mess around too much with really good quality meat. This is a beautiful Kelly bronze turkey. So all we're going to do is going to make a flavoured butter that's going to go underneath the skin. That's going to just help to keep things nice and moist, and then literally some salt and pepper over the top. If you're like me and forget to take the butter out of the fridge, a little tip for you: you just grab a grater, you can grate that butter, and this not only makes it soften much more quickly, but it also is going to make it very, very easy for me to get some flavour into it. So I'm just going to grate that up now, probably about half a block, maybe a bit more as it's Christmas. Not worrying too much about the waistlines at the moment. And then I'm just going to got some a little bit of thyme here. I'm just going to literally just strip back the leaves on that. You get the odd bit of stalk in there, it's not going to matter, but try to keep the woody bits out. So just going to strip that over there, and then we're going to hit that with a little bit of orange, just orange zest. Okay, I'm just going to, a nice Christmassy flavour there, and some nutmeg. So half a, what you call it, seed, I suppose. I don't know what nutmeg is. Is it a nut? Half a one of those nutmeggy things. A good pinch of salt, maybe another one, and plenty of pepper. And then we're just going to fold all that into the butter, and you can, if you want to, you can mash it together back into sort of a firmer, like a paste, Work that together. It's really cold out here today, so doing the trick of grating it has meant that I've managed to get all of that in, and it's just working quite pliable now. So we're going to use roughly half on each side of the turkey breast. So we're going to halve it into 2 pieces, mop up any extra bits that are left in the bottom of the bowl. Alright, now all we're going to do is take this turkey, where the sort of opening is at the bottom, we're just going to get your fingers in there, and you can just sort of release the skin, just being careful not to let it tear. But if you just get your hand in, your fingers in there, you can open up a bit of a cavity. What we're going to do is then take small bits of butter and just work them underneath the skin. And once they're in so far, you can kind of work them down the bird as far as possible and get those underneath that skin fully loaded with this lovely flavoured butter. That's just going to keep everything super moist. Okay, so we've got our butter underneath the skin. It hasn't gone all the way to the bottom. It's really cold out here today, but what will happen is as soon as it hits the heat, it's going to render, and that butter's going to just work down the breast. So what we're going to do now is hit it with obscene amounts of salt. We haven't brined this turkey. This is sort of straight out the fridge this morning. So a lot of this, it might look like I'm using a lot, but it will just render off with the fat of the skin. So I'm just going to rub salt all over the bird, making sure that we get the legs and the underneath as well. And then a load of pepper, and she's good to hit the smoke. Okay, a lot of people want to stuff things into the cavity of a turkey. Personally, I don't like to do that. I don't think it brings any massive value to flavour, and also it means that the heat doesn't get inside, so it takes an awful lot longer to cook. So what we're going to do instead, because obviously you need to have stuff in, is we're going to make a sausage fatty. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. She's got a big, juicy sausage wrapped in bacon. It's incredible. You don't need to put it in there. We'll do it separately. But this one is now ready to go on the Joe. Right, before the turkey goes on, I'm going to show you how to make some insane gravy using chicken wings. Now they're cheap as chips, a couple of quid for a pack of chicken wings, but they're going to give you an insane amount of flavour. So just in a roasting tin, I've got maybe like 10, 12 chicken wings there. Going to hit them with plenty of salt and pepper, as always. And then we're literally just going to add in a couple of onions. Just move some space here. Don't need to peel them because this is just gravy. We're just going to quarter them like that, and then the second one there. This is really easy gravy. Don't peel anything. Don't spend time messing around with that. So those are going to go in. Onions. Oop. Going to go in with a bulb of garlic, sliced in half. Going to get that in there. There's some big bits of peel, we can get those out of the way. And then plenty of thyme. And I'm just going to halve these carrots as well. These are chanterelle carrots in there. Good glug of rapeseed oil. And then I'm just going to get my hands in there and just work all those flavours together in this tray. Now I talked earlier a little bit about the 2 levels that we've got in the Joe here. So this is going to go on the bottom level underneath the turkey. So we're still going to get the turkey juices dropping into it as well. We're going to really cook this down until the darker these get and the sort of more cooked and gnarly they get, the more flavour they're going to give us. So they're going to sit in there for a good hour before we do anything else with them underneath this bird. Good to go. So we're up to temperature here. Got nice clean smoke roll in there. So we're just going to put our chicken wings underneath here. Try to be careful not to burn yourself as you slide them in.
And then this turkey is going to go directly over the top, like so. You'll notice that, I'll put it this way around so you can see. I've put a temperature probe in there, just so I can keep an eye on what's going on without having to keep opening the lid all the time. It's a really, really useful tool is to have yourself a digital probe like this. It means peace of mind. You can sit back, relax, have a beer, glass of port, whatever you fancy, and wait for it to cook. See you in a couple of hours.
Right, so this turkey's been in for around about an hour now. So what we're going to do is have a little look. See, it's getting a beautiful colour on it. And underneath, our wings with the gravy are coming along real nice. We're getting some really beautiful colour. What I'm going to do now is nick some of the butter that's come through, drip down from that turkey, and just going to baste it back over the bird. Going to get it all over. Might get a few little flare-ups. That bird is looking superb, man. Okay, so we're getting some lovely colour in there now. What we're going to do is drop in half a bottle of wine, white wine. I'm just going to let that start to sort of poach those wings, reduce all the alcohol, and we'll come back, add some flour, and then let it keep ticking underneath this bird. Right, so my digital probe is telling me that this baby is done, and it's looking incredible, but it's always good to check with a second probe just to make sure. Yeah, so we are there, 74. I'm happy with that. That is going to come off. So just going to rest this bird now for at least an hour, hour and a half ideally. Just going to pour all those juices into that gravy. It's still ticking away underneath. And drop it. Cover it with some foil and just let her cook. Let her rest for, as I say, an hour, hour and a half while we get the rest of the trimmings cooked on here. Okay, so whilst that turkey's resting, we're now going to deal with the gravy. So these wings have been ticking away underneath it for the whole time. And you'll see now some incredible colour and flavour in that little pot. The carrots have almost disappeared completely. So now what we need to do to actually make this into a gravy is we're going to add a good big spoon of flour in there. Just going to work that into the fat. Probably a little bit more, maybe 2 big spoons. You want to have lots of gravy, right? So I'm just going to work that flour in. And look, these chicken wings are starting to fall apart, which is exactly what I want to see. It's really thickening up now. Just add in around about 1.5 litres of water. Work that through again. You want it to be quite loose at this point, because it's going back onto the Kamado to reduce some more as we cook our roasties and our Yorkshire puddings. Just going to have a little taste. Oh, it's terrible. I wouldn't recommend making that. No, it's amazing. Okay, back into the Kamado. Look at that. Right, okay, so we've got our gravy ready. I've left it and it's gone a little bit over, but that is absolutely fine, because all we're going to do is just rejuvenate it with a little bit of hot water. So, pint of hot water in there, and you can always reduce this, but I'm just going to loosen it off now, and all the bits on the sides, that's all flavour, get that all worked in along the bottom. Yeah, that's absolutely, all that chicken meat is just falling off the bones, and all the flavour from those has gone into this gravy. Okay, now once you're sure that everything's been scraped off the bottom and all of the chicken and everything has been mashed, you use the back of the spoon to mash it all together, get every last bit of flavour out of it that you can. Then just going to strain it. So just into a sieve, into a bowl. You should have a nice clean pan. Then use the back of the spoon to work all the juices. The smell coming off this is insane. Smoky chicken gravy. There we have some awesome gravy without having to use any of the carcass of the turkey, so the turkey's still resting. We've got this beautiful rich gravy that's going to go over the top. Now it's time to make the sausage fatty. So I've got a kilo of Britain's best sausage meat from my local butcher. We've got about 300 grams of breadcrumbs. I'm just going to add those to sausage meat. So you're just going to make it sort of a bit lighter, a bit more like a stuffing. Next we're going to add in some herbs. So I've got some thyme here. I'm just going to strip that backwards, keep the woody bits out, get the leaves in. Some sage. You just strip the leaves off. These are the tips of this particular bit from my garden, actually. So some sage leaves, again, removing the woody bits, keeping the leaves there. I'm just going to chop that up finely. So in with the sage. I'm going to go for a red onion. So I'm just going to dice that up nice and small. One half and then the other half as well. And then we're going to go in some chopped walnuts, a handful of walnuts, just some texture. Don't want to leave these too big, because again you don't want big chunks of anything in the fatty mix. Okay, we're going to go in for a good pinch of fennel seeds, and finally a good pinch of pepper. I'm not going to add any salt because the sausage meat is already salted. We're also going to wrap it in bacon, which is going to provide more salt, which you'll see in a moment. But first of all, this is where you get your hands dirty. Just going to work everything together until it's all mixed and that sausage meat becomes the star again. You don't want to have any spots where it's just sausage meat, so really work it like kneading a loaf of bread, I suppose. Okay, and then we're just going to shape that into a kind of cylinder, I suppose, like a little roasting joint, like that. And then we're going to get ready to wrap it in bacon. It's going to be so good. So now we're going to make a lattice, bacon lattice. So just going to take strips of bacon and use the back of my knife. You can always stretch it out. So just stretch it on the board, it'll go a lot further. Okay, so we're just going to lay them down one by one, that way. You see that it really does help. You get loads more length from it. We do that. So keep working this. We're just going to weave it over and under, over and under. So just going to lift that one up. That one goes over that one. And repeat until we've got a nice big square of bacon. It's a bit fiddly this, but it's so worth it. So we've got our lattice, final piece goes down like that. We've got a bacon weave. Alright, look at that. Okay, so now I'm going to take the fatty, pop it in the middle, I'll pop it at the back so you can see, and we're just going to roll it up. Oops, he says, it's a little bit tricky. There we go, fold it right over like so, and then just tuck the ends in. We have a perfectly wrapped sausage fatty. So there's your sausage meat that you're going to be missing in your turkey. And it's worth spending a bit of time just packing it all in so it doesn't open up on the Kamado. Okay, so just going to pop this fatty onto a tray, like so, and then going to baste it with a little bit of maple syrup as well, because maple syrup and bacon are best friends. I forgot my brush today, but that's what God made rosemary for. I'm just going to brush that with maple syrup all over for a nice sticky glaze, and this is going to come out and it'll be so dark because of all this maple syrup's going to caramelise, but in the middle it will be absolutely juicy and delicious, and caramelisation is flavour. Okay, we're going to drop that in next to our turkey. Take around about an hour, so we're going to continue to cook this whilst the turkey rests, because we haven't got very long until this bird's done. Just going to slide the fatty in there with it. Happy days. Right, so now our turkey's resting, it's time to sort out the sides, so we're going to have amazing roasties. You know, it's so important at Christmas dinner, you've got to have roast potatoes. I've parboiled these last night, so they're a little bit fluffy already, which is perfect. So I'm just going to hit those with some rapeseed oil again. This is really, really good. Olive oil is not so good for roasting because it has quite a low smoking point. This stuff is perfect for roasting, and it's local. So just going to liberal amounts of oil, probably about 3-4 tablespoons. Good pinch of salt, sea salt, pepper, thyme. Sprinkle that over. Bust up some rosemary, bruise it, drag it about. You haven't got to be really rough for this. You know, you rub it in your hands, you kind of get the oils going in there. And then we're going to bang in half a clove of garlic, a full bulb of garlic even, half a clove. Who puts half a clove of garlic in anything? Full bulb of garlic in there. And then just going to give those a bit of a toss. Try not to lose them. I'm trying to be Jamie Oliver here, aren't I? Look at me. Whoops. Hey! Never mind. So you see that we got all those kind of like little bits of fluff there. They're going to create the crunch. So that is going to be awesome. So we're running the Kamado at 200 degrees, which is perfect for roast potatoes. I'm just going to slide those in next to our gravy, which is bubbling away nicely. And we're going to start prepping some Yorkshire puddings. Okay, as we're in Yorkshire, we're going to make some Yorkshire puddings, but we're going to make a slight little twist on them because we're going to put our pigs in blankets into them, so they'll be like mini toad in the holes, which is going to go perfectly with the turkey. So what you need to do is get yourself some really good quality sausages. These are from my local butcher. They're incredible. That's going to be too big, so all we've got to do is just work your thumb in the middle, give it a little twist, and then you've got perfect sized sausage to go into these little trays. So we'll work through all these. So once you've got all your sausages halved, just going to take each one, take a leaf of sage, pop it next to it, and we're just going to wrap that in bacon. Everything wrapped in bacon is better. Okay, and then we're just going to nestle those into, just pull off any straggly bits. They can always go into your sprouts or something later. Just going to rest those in the tray and repeat. Okay, so now we've got these pigs in blankets made. We're just going to give it a good hit of oil in each of these. You need a lot of oil to make successful Yorkshire puddings. That's where a lot of people fall down. Don't be shy, it's Christmas. Get it in you. The other key to a really good Yorkshire pudding is having super cold batter hitting really, really hot oil. So the next thing we need to do is start these sausages cooking and get this thing super hot in there. So we're going to drop it in with everything else. Okay, right, so these sausages are half cooked. I can see the fat is dancing, so it's now time to just tip in the Yorkshire pudding batter. Just going to fill that into those, work quite quickly. Fill it nearly to the top. Do that fat dance. And if any of them need a little top up, there's the time. And try and get the lid down ASAP. Right then, time to have a look at these Yorkshires. Oh baby, look at them. I am well happy with those. Perfect. In Yorkshire as well. I was a little bit nervous about making these up here, and I'll be honest, I didn't make the batter. I got a lady from Yorkshire to make it, but look at those! You can honestly do anything on one of these. It's so impressive. And underneath, we have our roasties, which are nearly there. Oh yes, look at the colour on those. Need a little bit longer, we're nearly done. 10 minutes, we're going to be on it. Right, now I'm going to show you how to cook some amazing vegetables on your Kamado Joe. I prepped them a little bit earlier by parboiling them, but finishing them on one of these grills is just fantastic. So in here we have a cast iron pan. Hit the pan with some rapeseed oil. And in there, we're also going to throw in some fennel seeds. See those fizzing away, and all those oils releasing their flavour. And also, I'm going to throw in some sage leaves. There we go. Give those a little tease around, get things moving, and then literally we're just going to throw in some carrots. Get those moving around. You can put your Brussels in there as well. With a little bit of water left, the steam and the oil together. Just going to bring these back to life. You can prep this the night before and have your veg ready in 5 minutes once your meat comes off. Don't forget to season. So a little bit of salt, even though you probably salted your water to begin with. A bit of salt on there. A little bit of pepper. And do that through again. You drop the lid just to heat those through. Okay, they sound incredible now. Heat it through. Just going to finish them with a little bit of butter. The last few minutes, work that through. The butter makes everything more tasty, and it's Christmas, so you're not worrying about waistlines. Finally, I've just got some tender stem broccoli, which are blanched, hit with a little bit of oil and some salt. We're just going to put that directly on the grill to char up. Shropshire lad. Thanks for watching our Yorkshire Fire cooking demos. If you like what you've seen, please go to the channel and subscribe. You'll see the next videos coming soon.